It was almost 3 years ago when Will Smith rushed the stage at the Oscars and slapped Chris Rock for making a joke about his wife. And there's a lot to be learned from it. I'm not going to discuss the rights and wrongs necessarily, but what I am going to discuss is what we can learn here in the dollhouse from that whole incident in the aftermath of it and what led up to it, and related to some of the principles in the 48 Laws of Power and where Will and Jada may have experienced some missteps and what we can learn from it. So, welcome back to the dollhouse. I am the doll, and I was just discussing Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, his wife, and what we can learn from their relationship. In 2022, Will Smith was at the Oscars where he won Best Actor. And the host made a joke about his wife, Chris Rock, a comedian, a black man, made a joke about his wife getting the role for G.I. Jane in the upcoming new G.I. Jane picture. And it was really just a joke about her being bald headed, which, I mean, everybody can see that she shaved her head. And he mentioned that film because Demi Moore, who played the original G.I. Jane character, was bald in the film. So, naturally in the sequel, the starlet would be bald, and she fits the bill. Anyway, it was a joke. It was funny when he said it. But Jada Pinkett didn't like it, and Will Smith took great offense to it. According to Chris Rock and a lot of other people, Will Smith took offense to it and took his anger out on Chris Rock by slapping him and humiliating him, taking his anger out in a misdirected way because he was really angry at his wife and all of the other people who were calling him names like cuckold behind his back because his wife had been exposed for cheating on him with a younger man. Everybody was making fun of Will behind his back, pressure mounted, and just that slight disrespect and him feeling like everybody was laughing at him caused him to, in defense of his wife, because he does, love her. Obviously, they have some weird, crazy love for one another. It prompted him to rush the stage and slap Chris Rock. And a lot of people felt like it was her goading him on by not being a good sport about taking the joke and just laughing it off, or just being so public about their relationship and their behind the scenes drama and just like having an affair with this younger man. There was a lot of drama. There's a lot of reasons people speculate for why he rushed the stage. Well, he did, and it ruined a lot of their career opportunities. Like, they were the Barack and Michelle of Hollywood. The Smith, even if they had this really outlandish relationship and these strange star children, alien kids who are very talented, they seem to be in a unique marriage because there are rumors that have been circulating for years that they've been in an open marriage, and that Will Smith allegedly enjoys the company of both men and women. Both of them enjoy the company of both men and women. So those are just rumors. I don't know what they do, and it's none of my business. And that's one of the main laws of power that they violated. Always say less than necessary. Like, they do have such a powerful powerhouse empire. They did anyway, that they really should have guarded their reputation more sacredly. And that's one lesson we can learn from Jada. yes, double standards exist among the sexes, and her cheating is going to be less accepted by the public than her husband cheating, because he's supposed to be this macho guy. That his, his persona, his whole pretend persona is like this macho, suave guy that all the women want. And then, when his wife cheats on him with a younger man, uh, her son's friend, by the way, who is an R&B singer that was not doing very well health wise, and she took in and nursed, and ended up having an affair with. Listen, it's none of my business, but if you're gonna do that, like, you have to be ready for the fallout if it's exposed, and at least just have a better strategy. If you're gonna, what's up with the non-disclosure agreements? Like, people don't do those, and the singer exposed Jada and his relationship. He called it out on a song, I believe. Something happened where it was exposed, and then Jada Pinkett had to address it. She addressed it on her show, The Red Table Talk, with her husband, Will. And he seemed to be very humiliated, very like hurt, and still a trooper, like hanging with his wife. They say very publicly that they're going to stay in their marriage no matter what. They said it on the show, Bad Marriage for Life, a play on words for one of the movies that he was in called Bad Boys, and the slogan is Bad Boys for Life. So he and Jada have pledged to stay in this bad marriage for life. And listen, they have an empire valued at, what's estimated at more than $400 million. So people have stayed for less. Like, at the end of the day, people get married and stay married for different reasons. And, she may be someone who is a champion for like the feminist, strong woman who's independent, but lo and behold, she's still very married. She's very married. I say that because I was just kind of doing a deep dive into her, very interested in Jada because she's so beautiful. And she's had such a very exposed love affair. And, the Oscars just happened. So I wanted to know like how she was doing after that occurrence 3 years ago. It's been almost 3 years since it happened. And their careers have never recovered. And in the great game of social climbing, the dolls, we can learn a lot of what not to do, how to spin things, and how to proceed. Because she took so much offense to the slap, not the slap, but the joke. She took a lot of offense to the joke that was made at the Oscars, and her husband could read her face and could tell that she just wasn't laughing about being laughed at. She didn't like it. She took great offense. And me personally, I don't know her history with Chris Rock, but I would have, in retrospect, like if I was her publicist, I would have told her to just sit tight and would have prayed that her husband didn't do that. And I would pull her to the side so that afterwards, when interviews are being given, she can discuss how, the joke was funny and she's so happy that she can laugh because she's a survivor now. She survived alopecia. And she probably would have been the spokesperson for it. Kind of getting her revenge by turning it into an opportunity, his little dig. She said that he asked her on a date once when he thought that she and Will were separating. Chris Rock asked her out and she rejected him, of course. And so, who knows, that may be a motive for why he wanted to poke a little fun at Jada. But, they've had some kind of rivalry going back and forth in Hollywood. It's none of my business. What I want to do is analyze where we can learn from. And I felt like she could have spent that in a different way to just catapult herself even further. Just now being a spokesperson for alopecia, and maybe even getting some kind of a brand deal. You never know, just kind of flip it like Candy Burris would do. As she says, she takes shade trees and turns them into money trees. And so Jada had that opportunity, but it turned into just a bigger and bigger shade tree. Their stock plummeted. Will Smith is like, his Hollywood career has pretty much dried up. Hollywood is dry anyway now. People are just over it. And even though he's a really great big personality, and I would love to see him to continue to succeed. I still love Men in Black and the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, all that. Like, and Jada, she's very funny and beautiful. I will never not love her character from Low Down Dirty Shame. She was the star of that movie, and I could laugh every time I watch it. So, you will never get me to hate Stony from the movie she was in with Queen Latifah, Set It Off. She's, just a person, an exotical doll who, was born from an African American dad, and her mother is Jamaican and Bayesian. So she's kind of a second generation American, I guess. It's really important to understand that these relationships like hers are in the spotlight because again, exoticals are the relationship blueprint, as I've seen or heard. Yeah, I'm just really making a joke here because I don't know what that means, but I do see that people have really analyzed her and Will's relationship and put it on a pedestal for many years. And we don't know what people have going on behind the closed doors, so never do that. And if your pursuit is social climbing as a single woman or in a family and social climbing together, you have to study principles together and know where you're headed. And also be not so serious about yourself. Like, that's one area where Jada Pinkett and a lot of women, they falter by not being able to take a joke or even take a dig and just not let it get to you. Just stay in a zone of politeness. Even when somebody's trying to take a jab at you, recognize the situation and remove yourself from it without breaking a sweat. Well, she did that, but her husband failed miserably. She didn't have to break a sweat. Her beautiful face, did all the work for her, and he went out like a guard dog. However, just, with her demeanor, knowing that things are so volatile, she's very much someone who could have controlled that situation and just done her best to let it roll off of her back in a way where she just remained in a state of unbotheredness. And I guess that's hard. It's easier said than done. I mean, I doubt if she knew that he was just going to bum rush the stage and ruin their family legacy like that. And I hope it isn't ruined, but hey, it's going to be hard to bounce back from some of these violations. It just, yeah, one of the things, the number 22 of the 48 laws of power, use the surrender tactic, transform weakness into power. So her perception of, maybe her beauty being diminished because of her alopecia or her plastic surgery, whatever they say it is that caused her to have that little bald spot, she could have flipped that and just, done the damsel, like, oh, I've been attacked, but I'm a survivor. Very much the Joan of Arc archetype, which she's kind of is. She's kind of a little bit, she's got that little masculine edge to her. And her husband is kind of a dandy. He's got that little feminine way about him that makes him an attention seeker, an attention getter. He's kind of a pretty man. So, they have a lot of exposure because they're very rich people. very famous people. And yes, most of us are operating within a smaller scale, but these lessons are good to know. Just always say less than it. You don't have to tell everybody your business to make a coin. Um, that's a mistake for people in Hollywood, people in social media. Just this is a new development that we are experiencing where people just feel like they need to tell all, just kind of make their life a circus. And you can do that, but it does have consequences and you have to be ready for that, ready for the fallout of it. And when you have so many vulnerabilities, you take a great risk when you expose your marriage, especially when um as she said, they've been separated since 2016, many years before the Oscar night in 2022. So, I mean, it's kind of like exposing yourself. Say less than necessary. And then also just watch who you are around. Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. Jada Pinkett having an affair with somebody like August Alsina was very dumb because he had literally nothing to lose. He was sick. He was a star on the decline. Okay, he was cute and tall, but he was also her son's friend. Like, he knew nothing except for how to blab his mouth and be an attention whore and try to ruin her situation. Probably because she cut his allowance off. Who knows? But that was a huge mistake. And it really did tarnish their legacy. And it caused her husband to spiral out of control because he probably could have dealt with her cheating because he was probably cheating up a storm. He probably could have dealt with her cheating if it was a little bit more discreet, but she had to be with the worst possible option available to her. So I hope this is helpful for the dolls to understand like some best practices and some what not to do's. Bless the Smith Pinkett family. And I hope that, they bounce back. Willow, she's a cute girl. And Jaden, I really don't know much about him, but I do like Willow's song, Wait a Minute. So go check it out. And y'all come back. We'll be talking soon.